I live down at Geelong on a farm. I have 6 children, 5 daughters, 1 son. I'm a truck dealer. I have a number of truck franchises today, and I've recently sold some of my franchises. Dad was a builder, and I started off when I left school. I didn't really want to go into the building trade. So when I was 15, 16, I used to work for Dad on the weekends, driving bobcats and cleaning up and helping out where I could. I then, when I was 18, decided to go and buy my first bobcat and started working locally with one machine. And I built up a business that was my whole life. I had an issue with my wife's health. After our 3rd daughter, she had a blood clot in the lung, and it was life-threatening. She then got another one a year later and another one a year after that. So people that have 3 blood clots don't usually survive, or it's a very low percentage. But anyway, she did. But during the first one, which was a bad one, when I spoke to the accountants, they said, look, really, you need to take on somebody in the business with you because it's too much for one person, particularly if this doesn't go the way we want. So through the accounting firm that I was with, they introduced me to a person who, purely coincidental, was a neighbour of mine at one of the land developments in Melton. And anyway, I sold part of my business for $4 million, just one part of it. I sold 50% to this guy who was into land developments also. And we had an incredible 12 months. Both my wife got better, and we had a really lucrative 12 months of business. And on the 1st of March, 12 months later to the day, I got an email, and he wanted to sell his share out of the business because my wife had got better, things were back to normal. There was only one hiccup, that he wanted $20 million for his $4 million half share. I had an almost 3-year battle to get my business back, but I did get my business back 3 years later, only because I was in the hands of Sandy Constantine at the time. I would have lost everything. I would have lost everything that I owned as a result of what was going on, because advice on those sort of issues, you need to have quick answers because you've got deadlines, and you've got there was applications being made to freeze assets and all sorts of stuff. And in the meantime, I had something like 550 people that depended on us running a business, because you had 230 staff and their families. Bryant and Bryant had become my accountants for everything I did, and I wasn't, it wasn't an enormous business, but it had property and it had trading businesses and investments. And over the next 7 or 8 years, I built an enormous business exporting out of the US to Australia, machinery and equipment that could be sold here. In 2010, adversity struck for a second time. This time I had my son, who was 8 months old, who came down with rotavirus. Yeah, I spent a couple of months in the Children's Hospital, which was life-changing on many fronts for us. It was a reminder about good balance. It was a reminder about the value of things that money couldn't fix. It was a really good grounding. Thank God we brought him home a week before his first birthday. In mid-2012, I had the opportunity to get a new truck franchise, which was Mitsubishi Fuso. So again, Bryant and Bryant were fundamental in establishing the structure for all that work. And again, it was new territory for me. So I've always enjoyed success, but it's been off the back of hard work. I've never been lucky. I think my luck began when I first met Bryant and Bryant, and in particular working with Sandy, because he was very efficient in all the areas that, as a business person, I was very deficient. So Sandy has now for the last 15 or 16 years structured all of our businesses. My driving motivation now is to try and change the way we all look at helping others. I actually registered homeless.com.au, or Homeless Limited, as a registered charity, and I needed 2 other people to be directors. I chose Sandy Constantine and Tracy Rothwell, and Sandy's my accountant and Tracy Rothwell's my lawyer, because they're people that I trust with my own family interests and my own family's future. So Sandy's become an accountant to our family, to myself and my wife and my children. He's become a good friend, and he's become a trusted advisor. I think in all advice, whether it's accounting or legal, you get what you pay for. And I think good advice versus great advice is the difference between success and being a market dominator or being a market participator. I think that's the difference. They're a great team.